What's up? Kidding. Okay, that is Peter McKinnon's thing. That is not my thing. I should have a thing. I wish I had a thing. You may have noticed that was Peter McKinnon's music in the intro, and Epidemic Sound had just been recommending me this song forever. So I figured I'd do a little homage to Peter. Love what you do, dude. And And this is a tech review of the Insta360 Go 2. Unlike every other review you've seen for this thing, this is not a sponsored review. They have no idea I even have this. In honor of Peter, I will do my best montage of what this camera is capable of. Let's go. The Insta360 Go 2, is it an action camera? A neighbor asked me if it's like the Google Glass. Is it for casual vloggers, serious YouTubers, for FPV drones, or is it a legit piece of kit that every advertising agency should buy? Well, yeah, to all of it. It shoots 1440p at 30 or 50 frames per second, slow motion at 120 in 1080. It has a log profile, HDR, 30-minute record time, 32 gig internal storage. It's waterproof, small enough to fit in some pretty crazy places. And the stabilization is incredible. All right, now you've seen what it can do, so let me tell you why I'm totally digging this thing and a couple of major issues I had while shooting this week that may affect whether you buy it or not. I'm gonna talk a lot about this case, but first, let me tell you why I'm so excited about it, which is just how tiny it is. Look how tiny that is. It's so small. You can just stick the whole thing in your mouth. I don't think it comes with a swallow warning, but it should. Maybe you'd get a couple of good high definition photos of your... Could they use this for a colonoscopy? It's waterproof. Do not do that. That is not a recommendation. This thing also gets very hot while it's recording, so you don't want that in you. Okay, I had this thing on my hat and my neighbor saw me in the hallway. He asked if it was a Google Glass. I was like, no, but it is one of those cameras that's so small and inconspicuous that you could get away with filming people without them knowing it. It's an action cam, it's a wearable, people are throwing it up on FPVs. What is it? It's its own thing. Before I talk about the case, I just quickly want to talk about this magnetic pendant. You put this thing under your shirt and the camera just magnetizes straight to it. I have a shirt that's black and white and I throw it in the middle of that. And if you're not looking for it, you don't really notice it. This is a pretty inconspicuous camera if you want to walk through the grocery store or through an airport and not have people giving you weird glances or thinking you're shoving a camera in their face. Okay, look, it's not a spy cam by any means. It's not invisible. There's also this flashing light that happens when you record. So, I mean, if you were so inclined, you could throw a little piece of gaff tape over that. But it's rude to film people when they don't know. So don't do that. One thing I did notice with the pendant, it gave my chest a rash. Either my hairs were getting caught in here somehow, or there was some weird chemical on here, or I have COVID and I'm getting some extremely rare COVID reaction that has nothing to do with the camera. So I have no idea, but I do have a unsightly chest rash. It's embarrassing. Having this thing on your chest is a really cool look for vlogs. Whenever you can get a look that's different from the norm, it's great. It's way more important to people how interesting the shot is than how high the resolution is. In fact, here's a little tip from the advertising world. People actually associate authenticity with lower res footage. They think this isn't some company that's trying to sell me something. This is just a person who got some random footage, so I can trust this. The trust level goes way up as the video quality goes down. In advertising, that can go a long way. So this is not just the case to keep your camera safe. This is actually the remote control to your camera. The camera does connect to your phone. You can set up your shots. You can see your shots and preview your shots so you can make sure it's all looking perfect. but you don't have to use your phone, which is great. So you could pop this on your chest and you could just hit the button once and you're recording, or you can use the remote. And it's actually more handy to use the remote because you want to know what mode you're in. You can actually access every piece of functionality on the camera through the remote. There's only 2 buttons on here, so you do kind of have to scroll through a lot of menus to set everything. But once you do, it does remember your settings. Not only is it nice to have a remote for the camera instead of having to use your phone, it's actually the one you want to be using because the phone connection drains your battery and overheats your camera. Also, as far as the battery goes, there were some people on Reddit saying that even when the camera is in the charging case, if it's just left idle for a day or two, the camera and the case will lose all its charge. And that's apparently something to do with a Bluetooth connection or a setting. They recommended that you put it in backwards so that it doesn't connect, but it doesn't close that way. So that recommendation didn't make any sense. What I did is you can actually put a little piece of cloth in here and that severs the connection between these two. That will stop the charge from being sucked out of these if you're just storing it for a few days. The case will recharge it 4 times. So you actually get like an hour and 20 minutes if you're using the case. That time drastically diminishes if you're using the phone app. If you're shooting the whole time and connected to the phone, it's really bad. The other thing about using the phone is maybe it's the Wi-Fi signal that they use to connect, but this thing will overheat and shut down. I've had that happen a couple of times, and then it took me a long time to cool it down. I was worried that I broke it. If you're gonna use the phone app, just use it to set your shot up and then disconnect and go ahead and use this for the rest of the time you're shooting. The cool thing about this though is that you don't really need the phone to set up the shot. This has a horizon lock feature. So you could have the camera like this or like this, and the horizon is still level. When you're mounting it, especially in the car, you're on the go, you don't have to worry about, oh, is it level? Is the shot perfect? You can kind of just throw it up and point it in the general direction of the action and know that the shot's probably gonna be okay. I used to shoot a lot of food box commercials for Facebook for Freshly and HelloFresh and all of them. So I recreated one of my shoots with this camera, and I gotta say, it was way easier to shoot with this. So if you want the box to stay completely still in the center of the frame, then you don't want any of the stabilization modes on. And what's weird about this camera is that you can only turn them off in post when you export to the phone. You first have to shoot it with the stabilization on. When you export it, you just turn those things off, and then you'll be able to crop your image and get exactly what you need. It didn't really mess me up on this shoot because I actually really liked the way the stabilization looked. This case has a really cool feature where you can actually use it as a tripod. It's very inconspicuous. This is way more convenient than a phone. I've got this on my phone here where I can plop it down, but there's not really a whole lot of options for where to point the camera, and this thing pretty much points the camera straight at the table. So you could bring this along with your phone and not even notice it. It fits in the small pocket of your jeans. Also, when you pull this out, you're not getting like lost in Instagram for 2 minutes and then forget why you wanted to shoot. Also, the stabilization you're getting out of here completely blows the doors off. This is an iPhone 11 Pro Max. No question, this is 10 times better stabilization. The case works great as a little selfie stick or to just point it at the action. I thought the audio out of the microphone was pretty good. Hasn't Tower Records been out of business for like 20 years? This is Sunset Boulevard. Doesn't anybody want this real estate? Is this a building or a climbing wall? Somebody help me out. Is this a show I need to watch? Why is he barefoot? 2 seasons though. It's gotta be good. It's also got a mount for a tripod. I've been putting a little ball head on here and a super clamp and throwing it on my bike or whatever else, because they give you this little thing with some sticky stuff on the back, and they say you can like wash it off and reuse it multiple times and it'll like stick to whatever. I would never use this. I would never trust this to not fall off for like a long time lapse or something. I don't know, who cares? The other item I found extremely useful in the kit is this little clip. I wish this clip would have something where you could open it easier and close it and clamp it, because you kind of just have to like force it on from the side. I mean, it's not hard, but it could be easier. And I've had some trouble getting it on some like flimsy straps because they just won't slide in. I wouldn't want to go through the line at a grocery store or get on a plane with this. I really do think then people would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, it's recording now. Yeah, that's one thing. This thing is easy to accidentally hit the button and then you're recording. It does buzz when it starts recording, but if you miss the buzz, then you could completely waste all your storage space and your battery life. It's got this lens cover, which is super nice. This thing's actually already scratched, so I bought 2 more for $10, so $5 each for some more lens covers. And I've heard they're creating one that's an ND filter, so that should be helpful. The mode you're gonna wanna shoot in most is the Pro mode. And that gives you an option to have a log color profile for color grading in post. The best feature, I think, about the Pro mode is that it shoots this huge image and then it lets you decide in post whether you want it to be 16:9 or 9:16. So whether you're shooting something for your YouTube channel, then you're like, oh, but I'd like to have this clip just for Facebook or for Instagram, or you're doing a TikTok or something, and you want a native look, all you have to do is in post say, oh, export this as 9:16, and it actually gives you extra pixels on the top and bottom that it didn't give you for the widescreen. Because of its small size, it can go places and do things that no other camera you have can do. I think it's something I'd rather use instead of my phone in like 90% of circumstances. It's faster. I know I'm gonna get a stabilized shot. It's less conspicuous. What does it look like? It looks like I'm holding up my AirPods case or something. You're not gonna wanna rely on this camera for all your video needs. It's gonna run out of battery. It's gonna overheat. It's also gonna run out of storage. It's got 32 gigabytes, but you really can only use 27 gigabytes of that. It doesn't have an interchangeable battery, so you have to stick it back in the case to charge. It charges fast, but not fast enough when you really want to use it. You're trading off having an SD card and an interchangeable battery by just having this tiny size. You could put this in your cup of coffee. You can't really do that with a GoPro. I don't know if it really takes the place of anything. I think it just is another tool. It's nice to have 2 cameras on you anyway. If you want to sit and get a time lapse, you probably want something to do while the time lapse is going. It'd be nice to have a time lapse going on this and still have your phone to like, what are you gonna do? Read a book? No. Would I buy it again? Yeah, 100%. I love this thing. I can't wait to stick this in places that things should not go. Normal places, legal places. I don't have any links down below for this. There's no affiliate association at all. Buy it, don't buy it. Makes no difference to me. If you want to support the channel, you can like and share this video. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're gonna do. Are you gonna buy one? What are you gonna use it for? That's it. Check out some of my other videos. Fonzie, what do you have to say? You wanna tell him something? Come here. Jump. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Fonz? You had this on your collar. Did you like it? Did you think it was fine? Did you notice? Dude, bro, no PDA. Oh. Your breath is so bad. Oh, right in my nostril.